Money's moving to me. I'm a millionaire. Money better cases. I ain't gotta chase it.
Hey, 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 what's going on, beautiful people? Happy Sunday to you all. I hope that you've had an amazing day thus far. I know for some of you, it's probably Monday, depending on where you are watching me from in the world. And so I wanted to come on here really quickly. This is going to be a very short stream, like very short, but I wanted to come on here as I felt led to do so. So if you're watching me live, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from, rep your city, rep your country. Let me know where in the virtual building you are watching me from tonight. Let me know who is here. Go ahead and comment. I'm going to go ahead and get started with my intro as I always do. My name is Sharita Leon. I went from being a homeless, disabled, single mom to a two-time #1 best-selling author with books selling the bestseller list for over 2 years straight. I'm also a life, relationship, and business coach and internet marketing strategist, entrepreneur, international speaker, and the protege of legendary Les Brown, a Forex trader and investor. And I empower my tribe to live their God-given purpose while creating wealth and have healthy relationships. I'm also a believer in my faith is exuded in all that I do. So welcome, everybody. So really quickly tonight, I wanted to come on here for those of you that are still up to talk to you about setting intentions for your week, right? And I know that a lot of people are in quarantine, a lot of people are home, and you're like, Sharita, I'm not doing anything. What do you mean set intentions? We're just sitting here. But there are many of you who, even while are at home, you may be working on, even if you're not, you still should set intentions for what it is that you desire, right? So there are weekly intentions that you can set, there could be daily intentions, but you want to get into a habit of setting intentions for your week, especially starting on a Sunday, like before the week actually begins. So for some people that looks differently, right? And so what is an intention? What does it mean to set an intention? Simply put, what is your aim? Setting an intention is an aim, is a plan of action where it allows for you to be focused on what it is that you are working towards, what it is that you'd like to accomplish, but setting an intention so that you know what it is that you're working towards, what is it you're working on, to make sure that this does not happen to be another week that just comes, right? What is going to be different for you this week? And so a time like tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how your schedule looks like, start to jot down exactly what you want this week to look like. And a lot of times we find that people don't set intentions for getting things done simply because they feel like, well, nothing's going to really happen, right? What I like about setting intentions is that it allows for you to set an expectation, right? It allows for you to set an expectation. And why is that important? Because when you're able to set an expectation, now you have something to look forward to. In spite of all that is going on in the world, there is still something good to look forward to. And when we set an intention, it also sets an expectation. And what I like about expectation is that expectation also works with faith, right? Because you can't say you have faith for something, but yet not expect it to actually come to fruition, right? And so while you're setting your intentions, you're also tapping into setting up an expectation for what it is that you say you're working towards or would like to actually come to fruition. Is this making sense to you all? If you're here, go ahead, comment, do a heart something. Let me know that you guys are actually hearing me, that it makes sense. So this week, write down today, what do you want it to look like? For some, it could be as simple as, okay, organizing your home. For somebody else, maybe writing a business plan. For someone else, it could be, not going crazy with the kids. Whatever your intention is, you want to write that thing down. And writing it down gives you the power, right? Write the vision, make it plain, right? And so setting your intentions for this week allows you to have a plan. Every day this week that God allows you to be here, what is it going to look like? Are you just aimlessly going through life, aimlessly going through this week, or are you intentionally coming together to work out what is it you want, right? Now, part of what I like about setting an intention, it also allows for you to tap into alignment, right? So as you've seen the title of this video, I'm also talking about divine alignment. And so what is alignment? Alignment, simply put, is coming to agreement, right? Coming to agreement, coming in direct connection with something, creating an alliance, right? Putting two and two together, right? That's what alignment is. So what is divine alignment? Well, you now coming into agreement with what God says, with what God wants. And so what does God want for you right now? What does the divine alignment look like? With alignment, the CEO of the company that I partner with, he said something yesterday, and hopefully I don't butcher it, but he said something to the effect of, when you are in alignment, you can do the assignment, something to that effect. And so when you are in divine alignment, you're also able to tap into, somebody put an emoji, thank you. So this is working. Thank you, Miss Pierre. So when you are tapping into divine alignment, you're also able to now hear what God is saying about your situation, what God is wanting from you right now. And with alignment, things just seem to flow. When you are in divine alignment, you are where God wants you to be. You are literally doing what he's telling you to do. You're hearing what he wants you to hear. You're saying what he wants you to say. When you're tapping into that, things just seem to happen. It's like, yo, how does it look like somebody's just popping off out of nowhere? Like, how does it seem like everything is working for that person? Because they tapped into divine alignment. A lot of us are not in alignment with what God would have us to have and do and be and all of that, simply because we're distracted. We're distracted with life. We're distracted with our own thoughts. We're distracted with so many different things, so we can't be aligned. So when you're not in alignment, there's no agreement. And if you live by the book that I live by, it says this, that when two or three come together in agreement, as touching and agreeing, it's already done. So with alignment comes the ability for things to happen, just like this. It's like, how's everybody popping up? How did she do this? How did she do that? She was in divine alignment. She knew how to tap into where God is in her at the moment, right? And so one of the ways that you're able to actually tap into divine alignment is by being able to be still, right? And with what's going on in the world, we're being forced to be still. Why? Because it's evident that things are changing. It's evident we need to hear. We're too busy moving around, too busy doing so many different things that we can't hear that we should be here. But because we're so busy doing our own thing, we miss the fact that you should have been here. So here you are creating a whole bunch of stuff that did not even need to take place. But because you can't hear, you can't you can't sit still to hear, you miss the alignment. Right? So now in you being still, you can actually hear what I need to be doing right now. Okay, God, you have my attention, right? You have my attention. What am I supposed to be doing right now in this moment? And in your stillness, you can hear. In your stillness, instruction comes, strategy comes, the downloads come to know, okay, who to speak to know what you need to be writing right now, to know, who you need to be around and who you don't need to be around, what you should be starting, what you shouldn't be starting. In that silence, in that alignment, you get the instruction. So when you have divine alignment, you have divine insight, things happen supernaturally for you, right? If this is making sense, type the number 1. If this is making sense, type the number 1. Okay? So one of the ways to tap into divine alignment is to stay still, to sit still and hear what God is saying. Number 2, another way to tap into divine alignment is by being able to speak what God speaks. What do I mean by that? A lot of times we see things in our life going left simply because we speak more of the things that we're currently seeing or we don't want, rather than what God says about a situation. For example, if you are feeling sick, or it feels like something in your body is going on, it's not right, and all you talk about is the fact that, oh my gosh, I feel so sick. Oh my gosh, my body hurts. Oh my gosh, I'm in pain. If you speak more about what you're feeling rather than what God is saying, you're not going to be in alignment. Well, what does God say about you being sick? Well, he says that by his stripes you're healed. So if God tells me that I'm healed, but I rather focus on the fact that I'm feeling sick, I'm not aligning with what he's saying. So if I'm not aligning with that, I can't receive it. You want to align with what he's saying so that way you can have what it is that you can actually have, right? What he's already said about you. Hey, Nana, how are you? So you want to be able to tap into divine alignment by saying what God is saying about you, about your situation, the promises that He has made to you, right? Speak those promises, not what you're experiencing, not what you feel is, your reality. Declare your reality by tapping into what God says about you. Another way to tap into divine alignment is by seeing it before it actually happens. Visualization is so key. And one of my favorite examples of that is when God comes to Abram, and God comes to Abram and He tells him all these amazing things that he's going to be, right? You're going to be the father of many nations, and you're going to be able to do this and do that. Now, mind you, here's a man who does not have any children, who's up in age, and here God says this was going to happen. But then God gives him the visual, right? God gives him the visual and said, listen, I want you to look up. I want you to look up in the sky, and I want you to look at all the stars. And you can't even count the stars, right? But that's how you're going to be the father of many nations. What was God doing? God was tapping into visualization, allowing Abram to see where he was going before it actually happened, so that Abram could focus on what God said. Again, tapping into divine alignment, right? What is alignment? Agreement. God needed Abram to come in agreement with what He said about him. So He gave him a visual. He not only had him to look up in the sky, to look at the stars, but He also had him to look on the ground at the sand. Can you count the grains of sand? Absolutely not. So here it is, God is giving him the promise, showing him what's going to happen. So that way, in his journey on manifesting the promises of God, he has something to look forward to as a reminder, to see it before it actually happens. You have to take the time out to visualize what God is saying about you, to visualize what those promises are, aligning yourself with those promises, right? And so when you're able to do that, you are tapping into divine alignment. Don't get so caught up in what you're seeing that you miss out on what God is actually saying about you. And so I don't know why I'm not seeing the comments on my regular page. Hey, Leah, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm not seeing the comments for some reason. And so you want to make sure that you visualize where you're going. What are your goals, right? We set intentions. We started off by talking about our intentions. This week, my intentions are, I intend to have X amount of new business partners. I intend to clean my house, right? I intend to make sure that my workload is completed by day 5. Whatever those intentions are. Now that you've written the intention, the next thing is speaking it, right? Speaking it out loud. The third thing then becomes to visualize it, seeing yourself with the manifestation of what it is that you are believing for. And when you're able to do all of that, and you start seeing what God sees, you start saying what God says, and you now start acting as if it's already done, things happen like this, right? Supernaturally, things happen that you really can't explain. And people are looking at you like, oh my gosh, what did you do differently? What happened? You just got into alignment. You just received it. How about that? You received what God had for you. You received all the promises. You received the vision. You received what you have been working on before it actually happened. And once you made that mental and spiritual shift and received it, it had no choice but to happen. But being consistent and being mindful and aware of what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're watching, what you're listening to, and receiving it to the point of where you know it's already done as a fact, it happens like this, right? So I said this stream was not going to be long, right? I'm going to keep my word. But I want you to really set your intentions for this week. What are you going to do this week? What is this week going to bring you? What are the words that you're going to speak to ensure that you are in alignment with what God says about you, in alignment with the desires that you have in your own heart? And how are you going to tap into it? Tapping into it as if it's already done. Tapping into it knowing that, hey, I have it. It's mine. And this week's going to be powerful because I said so and because my expectations are where they need to be. And I'm going to do the spiritual work in alignment with the natural things that I need to do, right? And once you're able to do that, you will see how things will be different for you. So I don't care what may be around you, what circumstances may be happening. You have a power within your mouth to decree a thing and it'll be established. You have the ability to tap into divine alignment with God and being one. Where he's at, you're at. What he says, you say. What he says you have, you have. And you move that way. And you'll start to see things happen just like this, supernaturally. I'll be able to share this video. Share the video, y'all. Bless somebody. You get an opportunity to tap into that. And you start to see how things will change this week. And I want to hear your testimonies. For those of you who are going to write it down, I want to know how many of you are going to actually write down your intentions. If you're going to write it down, type me. If you're going to write it down, type me. I want to see who's actually going to set their intentions, write it down. And then I want you to come back to me by the end of this week, right? By next Sunday and tell me, Sharita, this is what I set my intentions to do. And this is what happened. And watch, things happen supernaturally. I'm telling you. People always ask me, Sharita, how did that happen? How did you manifest this? How did you? I tap into divine alignment and I use my power in speaking life. And I operate in faith and I'm bold with it. You gotta be bold, baby. You gotta be bold and tenacious. And that's me, right? Be bold and only courageous. That's what God told Joshua, right? So I thank you for watching. I'm super excited about what is going to take place for you this week. And I'm looking forward to your testimonies that I will hear later this week as well. So God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Until next time, only believe until the end and go get your life. Be blessed, everybody.
I'm a millionaire, money better cases. I ain't gotta chase it. I'm a millionaire.
Get your money. Get your money.